So welcome to the Select Board meeting of July 8th. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you everyone for being here. If you haven't signed in the back, you would do that before you leave, and there are agendas. If we need more, we can make copies. All right, folks, welcome. The first agenda item is our approval of the minutes from the June 24th meeting, and Frank, you and I were here. Bob was absent, so do you have any changes?
I didn't see anything
Do you have any questions on the minutes that we talked about?
No, I did go through them, but I didn't have any questions and don't intend to be involved in
So
those.
you want me to make a motion
Yeah.
on that to accept the minutes of June 24th, was it?
Yes, June. And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And sign there, please. All right. How many people are here for the air conditioning and how many are here for the agenda? Oh, man. All right. So today we are going to have a presentation of the capital improvement plan that was done by the planning board over the last year and a half. So David Campbell, you can present as well. You would.
Start.
You want to go?
Hi, Bill Terry. I'm chair of the planning board, but David is the secretary and is the person who spent the most time on this darn project. The capital improvement program is something we're supposed to do every 2 years as a formal activity, but it's also a living document, and it's one that we need to update and ensure that we provide good data to the select board. And the important part around this is knowing what kinds of financial obligations we as a town might have, not for the day-to-day, the year-to-year kind of things, but the things, and according to the state, it's anything really more than $10,000, which is kind of low, but that's going to hit us. It's going to be something that should be a capital expenditure. Things that we are fairly comfortable with knowing about, things like the police cruisers, or maybe a fire truck, or maybe a highway snowplow. And we've had those, but there are other things. You know, what kinds of things should we be doing for the buildings that we have? What kind of maintenance should we be doing that we don't usually think of day to day, but maybe we need 1,000 more square feet of something to handle things. Recently, the fire station has been a large item for us, and so we've gone through this process. We were asked by the select board to do this in 2023, so we're a little bit slow in getting this. But I'll let David go through the progress we've made since we were asked to do this. And I think we've done some really good things, and we still have work to do because we haven't gotten all the information that we need from all the people who are not as forthcoming as we'd like them to be about what their needs are. But also we have folks who are naturally reluctant to talk about things they would like to have, but don't really want to spend the money, which sounds like a lot of things that I do personally. So David is the secretary. He's done most of the work. I'm going to let him do the presentation.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Okay.
David,
I'm sorry,
the
yes.
camera's there. Do you mind standing on that side?
Sure.
Thank you.
For that
Tell
side.
him to do stuff a lot.
I do.
I
You
have
should-
this feeling.
I know. It's a habit. Hard to
Yes.
break.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. So like Bill said, we've been working on this for quite a while. And the budget, the program really includes items that were already in the budget, and we've already approved them, and we just brought them onto this document. Some have been new ideas that have already been approved, and some have actually been implemented already from this plan based on our meeting in March. And some are just recommendations that we think need to be considered and have potential cost. They've not been cost out yet, but there are things that we put on the items. As Bill said, this is a living document. And when we reviewed it yesterday for this presentation, we already noticed that things were changed and things were completed. So it kind of made us kind of happy. And so when you look at the document, it's broken up by the various departments, committees, and organizations within this town. And the first one on the list has been the fire station and the fire department. And as we all know, over the past many, many years, the fire station was our #1 topic that we talked about at our planning board meetings on what we were going to do, how we're going to fund it, where was it going to go, and all of that. So part of the capital improvement initially was to get approval for the money to do the research and to develop the plans for location and the drawings and all of the necessary paperwork before the approval. Well, that has already been done, and that was already approved, and that was already completed. And the second part was, do we going to get the bond to get it built? And that also has been completed. So in our capital improvement program, we've already checked off a couple boxes that we were initially talking about, has been done already. And as you can see, the fire station is being built as of today. So that was the biggest thing that we really did. And we had a lot of help from the select board and Bob in getting that one done. The other things on the fire department that we talked about were really currently in the budget, and that is replacing a fire truck, a couple of smaller trucks, the pickup truck and some other smaller equipment, some radio packs, and those kinds of things that need to be put in to the budget. And again, have already been placed in the budget, and when we reviewed it this past March, you will see that all those line items have been allocated already. So we're moving forward on that. The police department, when we talked to them, there's a replacement, as Bill said, there's a replacement in the budget for a cruiser. There was no other major equipment. However, one of our recommendations is we need to look at potentially additional space for the police department. And where that space can come is really an open question. Is it remodeling or redoing the downstairs of this building to expand their space? But the also is, what are we going to do with the current fire station? And is there any possibility that that is? So we believe that that is on the horizon, and that is something that needs to be done and considered for the future. And we'll be continually discussing that. The next area was the highway department. And for those that may not know, one of the things that we approved and was talked about and recommended to the select board, and they got it done, was the improvement to the salt shed up by the highway department. That was discussed as something that was important, a high priority for them. It saves them money, saves them time, and it saves the cost of the salt. That has already been completed and done, and I've been told that it is an amazing facility up there, and they did a wonderful job of doing that. So that is another one that we recommended to the select board earlier on before we actually submitted the entire program, and that was approved and put on the docket last year, and that has already been completed. The other things that we talked about was improving and increasing the funding for road repair and culverts, which was done and approved March of this year, because we do see, because of the experience that we all had in December of 2 years ago with the flooding and the culverts, we know that those need to be repaired, and Jim is doing a great job of mapping out the program and figuring out what culverts need to be done and repaired, and that is underway also, and that funding was approved to increase that in March when we did the town meeting. So again, things have been moving along with this capital improvement program, even though it's been a while since we presented it to the select board. The recommendation of the highway has been done. The other part of the highway department, which is a kind of a combination of two things, one, and we'll talk about it in a couple of places, is the Grays Inn garage. Right now, that is a big storage area for the highway department. They maintain a lot of their equipment and things down there. Depending upon what the future of that building will be, has an impact on what there are going to be supplies, and do we build other facilities up in the highway department to store that equipment up there and move it out of there? Are we going to redo the garage and make it a better storage area than it is today? So that is one of our big topics for 2026, really to talk about what the Grays Inn garage will have and what that impact will have on the highway department's equipment that they store there. The other area, the next area is the grammar school, the Jackson Grammar School. This was one area that we struggled over the past 18 months on getting information and getting future plans and what they're looking for the future. They have been very busy on other projects, which is the determination of what high school we're going to use in the future. And because of that, they were not able to really provide us with any direction or needs over the next 10 years. So this will be one area that we will continue to focus on to kind of build more information from the school board. And we've gotten a lot more buy-in, and once that decision is made, then they will have the ability and the time to kind of look back and figure out what they need to do. We also looked at the ambulance services, looking at continuing training, but there were no major cost factors associated with the ambulances. We then looked at town-owned buildings, which again we did a couple years ago. We evaluated all the buildings, determining which ones were town-owned buildings, and determining that certain areas, like we know, certain maintenance and upgrade needs to be done, especially in the building we're sitting in. A couple of things that we looked at is the redoing of the windows, which would be a cost savings, carpeting, and additional space. As the staff here grows, what do we need to do for space here, and what's the needs to be evaluated on what needs to be done. So that also is talked about. The town-owned building, which is the Gray's Inn garage. But again, a lot of discussion around what the future will hold on that and what needs to be done. You know, is it torn down and made into either green space or a picnic area and made it more of a family community area for people? Or is it remodeled, new foundation, new siding, new electrical, new equipment inside and a new floor, and it's used for storage for town services, and it's just maintained and upgraded to meet the standards today. The library uses it for their storage. So again, a lot of departments, the Chamber of Commerce uses it, the police use it, a lot of town organizations use that building, so there'll be a lot of planning on what needs to be done. The other thing we talked about was the Historical Society, and as we all know, we have a floating building down the street, and that was discussed and brought up, and they were able to do private funding, so the town only was needed to contribute about $100,000 that was approved last March, and that is clearly underway, and hopefully it'll be in its new home soon. But when we talked to them about that change, and we talked about that move, a couple things came to light, and that is the reduction of parking that's going to happen there and how that's going to impact. Looking at the road itself, Black Mountain, down at that area, and how that may have to be reconfigured to accommodate better traffic flow and off-site parking, and installing of sidewalks to allow better transportation and people walking from the Historical Society to the post office, to the school, to the trail. All of those need to become part of the process, and we know that those are currently in a phase 2 and 3 topic. So again, those will be continuing to be built into the capital improvement program as we go through time, because that cost will be associated with that, doing those changes, along with seeing what kinds of state funding through the Department of Transportation is available to us to help offset some of that, since Black Mountain Road is actually 16B and it's a state road. So nothing can be done to that road without the state's approval to do that. One of the other area we looked at was the old transfer station area up the road, and to see if we could potentially install solar panels up there to offset some of the costs for the town and to make it more of a revenue generating system for the town to use that site for something more than just what it is today. And I think the other town-owned building that we all have to talk about, and I know it's on the agenda for the select board in the coming year, is what are we going to do with the current fire station once the new one is built and finished, and how we're going to use that and maximize that space, and how that's going to improve other facilities. Nothing on the transfer station. The other area we talked about was the emergency management services with Emily. And we talked about a few things that, one of the things that her concern is to, and this probably just comes right under the 10,000, right over the 10,000, and that is, there's a generator associated with the Whitney Center, and because the Emergency Management Services uses that as potential shelter, if need be, she would like to get that elevated and cared for to making sure that it's appropriate, and having a better fire suppression system in that building, since it is used as an emergency shelter, and she wants to maximize the ability to use that building. And last but not least, one of the things that came out of our planning board, which I think we're all kind of proud of, and I think we're proud of the work that they're continuing in doing, is that we recommended that the town establish a housing commission, which was approved a year ago. And from that, what we could do to become a better place for people to live in the future, and to become a place that we can grow and establish in here. And that was approved, and that housing commission was a result of our planning board discussion for the capital improvement, and we clearly see that as something for the future of Jackson to be important. And we're really proud that that was recommended, and the select board felt it was a positive thing, and the townspeople approved it and moved forward, and we're doing some great work. So those are the main areas that we focused on as the capital improvement program. But as we've said, and I said earlier, this is a living document, and this will probably be different if I came back here next month. It could be totally different with additional services that we know.
Very good.
Any
Thank
questions for you?
Any questions, comments?
No.
I
Great job.
appreciate,
Thank you, Dan.
yeah, I appreciate numbers, because I'm an accountant, but looking at things like this, like David said, it's a live document. It's always changing based on the needs of the town, and as you start your master plan process, that's going to be even more intense. And I'm also proud of the town and what we have saved in our capital reserve funds to help prepare us for some of these infrastructure amounts, because you just never have enough money for things like this, but we're a pretty savvy town when it comes to saving for projects. So when I look at these, I don't tend to get as tense as somebody who may not have any money in the bank. So thank you very much for all the hard work you did, and I also look forward to hearing about your subcommittees to keep this moving forward. So thank you.
Terrific.
Great. I think we have to make a motion to approve the capital improvement plan, don't we, to bring it, since you presented it?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 capital improvement capital improvement plan for the town of Jackson.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
And I would just like to add, as far as a committee that we're putting together to kind of do some work that aligns the capital improvement plan with the master plan work we're undertaking, that there were general conversations about how sometimes these committees and these boards and these commissions end up doing work in a bit of a silo and removed from each other. And so in an effort to kind of bring all pertinent input together and have it in the same room for the period of time we're working on this master plan, we've reached out to Conservation Commission, Housing Commission, Planning Board, Zoning Board of Adjustment, Library trustees, School Board, Fire Department, Building Department, Highway Department, probably bring in emergency services into that group as well, looking to kind of bring people together some point after Labor Day to start the work, and so that everybody's input is recognized and informs the master plan that we're about to do. So I'm excited about that.
Great.
We've got a lot of input already from a lot of those. There are only maybe one or two of those groups still out there that don't have individuals committed. So
Great.
I'm excited.
Cool. All right. Tin Mine Conservation solar signs. Is Alan Brooks here? I didn't see him. So this was asked to be on the agenda to put some signage to promote solar in our town, and they wanted to put up signage, and I don't think we're going to move forward on that because it needs to actually be presented to us for approval, but then the zoning ordinance, so do you
I'll
guys
make a
have any
motion
thoughts?
to table the Tin Mine Conservation Solar Sign item on the agenda to next meeting.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second it, sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, Black Mountain Ski Area. This one is the one that, Eric, you asked to be on the agenda for the fireworks?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. We wanted some clarity on our fireworks permit fee for the standby. I was out of town last meeting, but I understand that the town waived or rescinded the fee for the fireworks on the 4th of July for the chamber.
No, we never charge them. It's a town-sponsored event that's paid for through town funding, specifically a line item in the budget, so we don't charge them. No, not that we charge them and rescinded it. We don't ever charge them anything.
So you didn't charge them?
Correct.
Okay. And then I guess my next follow-up question is, do you still intend us to pay that invoice and you're going to charge us that fee?
Yes.
Okay. And that fee, could there be some clarification on how that was adopted? Because my understanding is that that was adopted under a single selectman's approval.
It's, I don't know about that, but the fees are calculated based on a formula that Chief Henry came up with as far as labor costs to man a private event for fireworks. So I know there's documentation on how that amount was calculated. I don't know I don't think that decision was made by a sole select board member or whether
It actually says
was.
on the email that was provided, it was handwritten, approved by Frank, I believe. That was the email
no.
that was.
Bob, do you want to comment?
I think it's timely for me to step in and say that this board operates under some pretty common rules of order. And we are not here to be interrogated or questioned or in any way, shape, or form. We invite comments constantly and regularly. And I just want to remind you all, this is a meeting between three people, Barb, Frank, and myself. It's a meeting that's done in public, and we invite the public in, and we invite comments. And we typically invite comments during regularly scheduled agenda items that pertain to that item. And then you'll see at the bottom of our agenda where we invite public comments on anything. It's not a question and answer period. Okay, we rarely set meetings up for that. When we do, and we want to have discourse between two people, we set it up that way. But other than that, we're not here to answer questions. We're here to conduct a meeting. And the only people that speak are those that are recognized by the chair, and I would certainly want to remind everybody.
Thank you, Bob. I do believe I was on the agenda and I was recognized to speak. Are you having a different interpretation of that?
That's a question.
Okay, so I guess I'll ask the questions and you can.
I had the
No,
floor
Excuse me.
and I spoke.
Okay.
And now Barb is back facilitating the meeting.
I have the floor. and
No, you
and
do not have the floor.
I do not have the floor.
You do not have the
You let me
floor.
know when I have the floor.
Yeah, I'll give you the floor after I make this comment. You asked a question of me and I answered your question. You are required to pay the fee for the fireworks from the fire department. End of conversation. Okay? You do not have the floor.
So I'm not going to be able
Eric?
to speak anymore.
Correct.
Uh,
You can make a public comment at the end of the meeting if you want to.
Can I make one? I'm Chris Meyer, I represent Black Mountain.
Could you stand up so I can see
Sure,
you, Chris?
sure.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm Chris Meyer, I'm the attorney for Black Mountain, and I guess I'll shift back to the original thought, which was a request that you didn't charge the nonprofit for the firework fee. You're charging them. Black would make the request that you treat their entity the same. It's not anywhere in the policy that at least I can find that you can treat the chamber differently than Black Mountain. We'd ask that they be treated the same way. So,
Thank you for your
Thanks.
comment.
yeah, absolutely.
The next,
Or change the policy to make it clear that you can do that.
thank you. I'll just reiterate for the closing to that topic that we still do want you to pay the invoice. Thank you. The next is the Black Mountain Ski Area signage. This was a issue that came up over the weekend where some signage was placed on Saturday in the Veterans Triangle in town, and that signage caused a hazardous, a safety hazard because it blocked the vision of drivers going from 16B to 16A. More than that, though, this signage was placed without approval from the zoning board and recommendation to the select board, and it was asked to be removed, and it was not removed. So we have a police report, and we have documentation as well as photographs of that, and I would like to read this. Let me just see if I want to do this here. Sorry. I have a letter from the building inspector that is addressing this issue, but I also want to talk to my fellow selectmen here. I would like to make a recommendation that we have a violation against our zoning ordinance for not asking permission and, not really permission, but placement of the signage.
That makes sense to me.
I'm just, I'm allowed to speak my mind on this?
You have the
Yeah,
floor.
okay. I'm wondering if Eric, people up at Black Mountain, and I think I might know the answer to this, were they aware that they just can't put a sign anywhere? To advertise, has that been substantiated from Kevin or somebody? I think
Actually, the sign was placed there, and from a conversation that the chief of police, Hurley, had with Eric Mogensen, I'll say ignorance is not a reason to break the law. So knowing what you can and can't do should have been known, but then when it was brought to Eric's attention that the sign was hazardous, he did not remove it. Chief Hurley took it down so people could see where they were going, and then it was moved to a different area of town property on the school. So after being warned about that, it was put in a different area of the town. So yeah, they knew.
Our ordinances are for all to see. And I think it behooves a business or any organization in town to either to take it upon themselves to become familiar with it if they need to do those things. And so in that sense, every business in town either knows or should know, should be taking steps to inform themselves on what they can and cannot do in the town.
So I will read from our sign ordinance, which is section 13.3.3, and it says off-premises directional signs for ski areas and the Ski Touring Foundation located in the town of Jackson shall be permitted. The total area of the sign exclusive of supports shall not exceed 64 feet. The height of the sign shall not exceed 12 feet above natural ground level or the center of the traveled way. The locations will be recommended by the planning board and approved by the Board of Selectmen. So this is directly from our sign ordinance. Any further, and then any violation of this ordinance, if it occurs, the Board of Selectmen shall institute in the name of the town of Jackson any appropriate action, injunction, or other proceeding to prevent, restrain, correct, or abate such a violation. Punishable by a fine of not more than the maximum set by state law, with each day that such violation continues to be deemed a separate offense. I believe the violation is $275.
So as we're moving forward, would it have been, if he had asked, Black Mountain had asked us about it, we had the ability to approve or disapprove of where the sign could go?
The planning board has that ability to say where you can and cannot put signs based on appropriateness and size and safety.
All right, so sometime in the future, and this comes up again, we know that. You know that. Everybody knows that, all right? And look at your zoning board, find that out, but, okay, all right.
May I be recognized?
Yes, Bill?
Just quick, the way it's specified, it's a two-step process that it has to come before the planning board recommendation, and then it needs to be approved by the select board. So the approval actually is not by the planning board, it's by the select board. So it's a two-step process.
Now, the zoning ordinance, when I read that, it almost looks like those two signs that are allowed seem to be more permanent, of a more permanent nature. Do you get that?
The two signs
Yeah,
that were?
well, the two signs of each, the ski area is supposed to be allowed to use in not more than 64 square feet and all this other stuff, right? Is that, are those, are we talking more about permanent signs than we are
No.
just the temporary signs?
Signage, it's
Signage
signage.
is signage. You look at it that way. All right.
Oh, Eric,
Thanks, Art. Oh, I'm sorry, was there a sigh?
yes, I'm exhausted, just been exhausted. Go ahead, what do you
Well,
need to say?
Yeah, well, thank you. To answer, I think it was Frank's question. Frank, we were not aware. There were no less than 9 other signs out that day that we photographed and taken pictures of. including
Eric,
signs
this,
All right.
I'm gonna just say, this is between your sign and the select board right now. It is not for any other signs that we're finding
Either
problem to,
Either you're
okay?
gonna allow me to speak or not. Are you gonna allow me to speak or not?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Frank, for giving me that option. Oh, awesome.
Um,
Okay, so
Can our
my,
attorney speak quickly or no?
no.
Okay.
I would like to see if we would like to make a motion to move forward for a violation.
I'll make a motion that we fine Black Mountain $275 for a violation of the town's sign ordinance.
I'll second that. All in favor?
I
Aye.
No.
Thanks. All right.
I would also like to make a suggestion before we move on. If there is anybody in the audience or connected with this issue in any way that has a comment to make, I think now is an appropriate time for that comment to be made.
I'm fine with that.
Well, I tried to make a comment that was cut off.
Eric, if you would just say what is on your mind instead of the side banter, I would appreciate it.
I
Factual comment. Go ahead.
tried to do that.
Go ahead.
We had tried to respond. So before I was cut off, there were no less than 9 other signs on the property. Some were off premise, including one on town property with balloons that very day.
That is not town property.
The state property.
Thank you.
Okay, so the triangle here, is that town property?
What is your comment?
Well, there were multiple other signs that, as you read the zoning law, that you did not find any of those people. And I believe the series of events were mischaracterized. We were asked to go ahead and move the sign because there was a traffic infringement. The signs were actually taken down and laid down, which we have a photo of as well. So we came down and the signs were already laid down and removed by Chief Perry, so there was no incident there. We then moved them across the street so that they were out of the way, because we were told the primary concern was the traffic infringement. And we would disagree with that characterization, but we moved them upon being asked across the street so that they did not create a traffic infringement. And then when Chris Perry came back and forth.
Purley.
Purley.
It's Chief Purley.
Chief Purley.
Thank you.
When Chief Purley went back and forth about it, we let him know. And we have all those text messages documented, and I have the conversation with Chief Purley on the side of the road also documented. So we will certainly appeal the fine, and we find it very difficult that you would not find the other 9 people in town for violating zoning laws, but you would fine us. For example, the Whitney Center and the library and the sign out front, and there's a myriad of things. Simply seems a little aggressive to fine $275 for this, but we'll appeal it through the appropriate process. And Chris, did you want to say anything else?
I believe I call who has the floor, okay? Thanks.
My apologies.
You'll learn. Chief Purley?
Yes, thank you. First and foremost, I'm going to assume for the record, there's a waiver of the right to discuss the matter in executive session or non-public session, since Eric Mogensen is the subject matter of the conversation. I think he asked for it to be an agenda item. Is that correct?
Correct.
I did not ask for the Black Mountain signage to be an agenda item.
Oh, that is correct. I'm sorry. He asked for the previous agenda item.
Okay, then
We asked to put this on the agenda.
And before I speak at all about Black Mountain signage, I want to be clear and I want to be sure that that right to be discussed in executive session is waived by virtue of the fact that he's already discussed it. So I want to make sure of that before I speak.
Thank you.
Um,
Do you have any problem with that, Eric?
No, I
Just
I
an
don't believe-
easy
I don't
yes
believe
or
I
no question.
I don't believe I have the right to waive executive session. That's your job as the board.
Do you have a problem with us speaking about this issue in the public session?
I don't have comment,
Okay. Go ahead, Chief Curley.
but I would reserve all rights.
With
Oh, my
regard to additional signage, in particular, the art show sign with a balloon that is on the state property. Eric brought that to my attention. I immediately brought it to Kevin Bennett's attention, because I had not noticed it. And I also brought it to the attention of the state road agent who's in charge of our district. I asked him specifically with attaching the sign, the picture of the sign. Hi Brian, can we get some insight on the state rule on signage like this? Are private, non-election signs allowed on state property? And I qualified it because during election season, election signage is allowed with some restrictions. He said they are not, especially on islands and at intersections for sight distance. This would include Veterans Park, even though it is town property, it is a state right-of-way. Main Street is Route 16A, Black Mountain Road is 16B, both state highways. I said, thanks. We'll communicate that to the art gallery lady. My apologies, I don't know her name. I said, if it happens on the weekends and people can't be located, people being the sign owners, do you want us to remove them if we can without damaging the signs? He says, if you see any safety concerns, like at the end of the island with what the ski area did, I don't get texts on my state phone on the weekend, but just call. I had sent him the pictures of the signs as I found them. This is the state road agent. Quote, if you see any safety concerns, yes, like at the end of the island with what the ski area did. I don't get texts on my state phone, but call me and it'll forward, and then we can deal with any complaints about removal. So I followed up on the art gallery sign. It is state property, not town property. It is a violation of the state rules, and it'll be rectified. As for the signage at Veterans Park, what drew my attention to the signage around 1 o'clock was a woman struggling to see oncoming traffic on 16A proper, coming from, say, Wentworth side to towards the intersection. Anybody who's navigated that intersection, it's not a great intersection. It must have been laid out on a Friday. I saw a car, and I see a lady in a car. I'm heading up past Badger Realty, and she is struggling to see. She's actually inching out into the travel portion, and I see her doing this with her head, and I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? And that's when she left, and I saw the ski area signs. It was immediately apparent that it was blocking safe travel. I removed the signs. I checked with Kevin Bennett. He informed me of the zoning rules. I politely, with pleases, informed Eric that it was not only a hazard, that it was a violation of zoning rules to not have prior permission to put signs on town property. Or Kevin Bennett. I told him I disassembled the signs. Could you please come pick them up? He erected them on school property. Also town property, but regulated by a separate board. I recognize that. Still on a state right-of-way. I checked with the school board, as I told him I would, because when I asked if he had tried to obtain permission from the school board, he flippantly says, I don't know, did you? Which I didn't really understand.
Can we just have facts in your commentary too,
I'm
please?
sorry. But he acquiesced that he had not checked and got permission. I notified in writing with a picture the chairman of the school board. She responded and said she checked with the principal, the superintendent of schools, and herself, and collectively, they wanted the signs removed. I again politely asked him to remove the signs per their request. It was an endless stream of conflict, insults, and the like. I finally had to put a bright line time on it, myself and Officer Eaton. I said, you got 15 minutes to police them up, they want them removed. We're gonna tell you it's their property. We gave him 30 minutes, 15 minutes more than I said, still didn't pick them up. We picked them up and secured them, knowing that it had the potential to be a case the select board could act on, so they were taken in as evidence. Which they remain until the conclusion of this zoning fine that apparently will be challenged. So that is the totality of that. He was told twice he
Okay.
couldn't put signs on
Okay.
town
All
property.
right, we're gonna move forward to the next item. We made a
Barbara, I
motion.
have an opportunity to comment on that?
No, we're gonna move forward.
No?
Bob?
Has anybody who wanted to make a comment had an opportunity to do so? If there's anyone that hasn't made a comment that still wanted to make a comment before we move off of this, I'm fine with it. I think everybody that wants
Chris?
to.
And Penny.
Thanks, board again. So again, our concern is that this is a matter of fairness. So the art show sign was out in violation of the zoning ordinance as well. They're not getting violated. You can't violate one person and violate one business and not violate another business.
I believe that Eric had, well, you know what? I'm not even gonna comment
Yeah.
again. Thank you. Penny?
I was gonna say, Chris has always been reliably consistent at removing garage sale signs from any signs from the Veterans Island and reaching out to people to consistently enforce that rule over the years.
All right. Eric, last comment.
Absolutely, thank you. We have all of those records, conversations, and text messages documented, and we'll let everyone interpret them themselves once we make a public statement on the matter.
Whatever you need. All right, next is Whitney's Pond. We had discussed this at one of the previous meetings, and we have a letter that I'm going to read into the minutes, and this is going to be addressed to Mark LaHood from WIF Holdings, as well as Eric Mogensen from Entabeni Systems. And this has to do with Whitney's Pond that was dredged for snowmaking purposes and that is on the property of Whitney's. So Mark and Eric, considering the concerns raised around the activity at Whitney's Pond over the last year, as well as the increased frequency of major rainfall events, and to prevent issues moving forward, the Jackson Select Board requests the information outlined below. Note that while Whitney's Pond is an approved firefighting resource and does not require permitting for certain operations and maintenance activities, it is primarily used for snowmaking and the resort's guest recreation. Other than maintenance within the limits of the existing intake channel, pond, and outlet, it appears that disturbance of or filling of wetlands requires New Hampshire DES permitting. Attached are two helpful resources from New Hampshire DES. Also, regardless of whether in a jurisdictional wetland or not, earth disturbance must comply with the town's site disturbance permitting and planning requirements, which are also attached. It should also be noted that Jackson's site disturbance ordinance requires that soils be stabilized each year by November 15th. An exception was made last year to support Black Mountain snowmaking goals. To that end, the following information is requested: a copy of the wetlands report for the recent delineation with the scientist's certification and confirmation from the scientist that no wetlands were disturbed, or identification of those disturbed and a plan for restoring them. An operations and maintenance plan for the stream diversion, intake, pond, service drain, and normal and emergency outlets. At a minimum, the plan should include a 24/7 point of contact for the person or persons responsible, identify the New Hampshire DES dam permit, if any, and requirements thereof, list, brief description, and general frequency of normal maintenance of the intake channel, sediment accumulation in the pond, normal outlet structure, emergency outlet, service drain, and earthen embankments and dikes. Permitting requirements for maintenance, identifying which permits are required for each maintenance item and which items do not require permits. Disposal, location for dredged materials, and the method to prevent sediment from migrating into wetlands, drainage ways, or off the site. Identify the emergency overflow that can pass the 100-year event with sufficient freeboard to prevent overtopping of the earthen berm, again, should the normal outlet structure clog or if extra stop logs are not removed prior to rainfall events. Method of seasonally diverting a portion of the stream flow into the intake channel and time for its installation and removal. Method of stabilizing and preventing erosion of the overly steep intake channel slopes and other disturbed areas of maintenance. Description and frequency of inspections of the intake channel, sediment accumulation in the pond, normal outlet structure, emergency outlet, service drain, and earthen embankments and dikes. And lastly, method and location of maintenance and inspection reports. Thank you for your ongoing cooperation and coordination with the town to maintain a valuable resource according to best business practices. Great Brook and Whitney's Pond are part of the Wildcat River Corridor and are thus part of the National Wild and Scenic River designation, an asset that we treasure in Jackson. Please contact the Select Board if you have any questions or require further clarification. This will be signed by the Select Board if Frank and Bob agree, and this came from a meeting with the Conservation Commission, the Fire Chief, and other concerned parties to determine some of the goings-on and what happened to the Whitney's Pond. So do you have any comments or questions on this?
No.
Right?
No, sounds pretty thorough.
I'll make a motion to approve
Fire,
the
I have a
letter.
comment, if it's available.
I'll
No.
second.
It's not available. I just want to point out we weren't.
I'll
invited to that
second.
meeting.
Eric, please.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And you will be provided a copy of the letter as well as the documentation that I mentioned from the DES, Conservation Commission, and our site disturbance ordinance.
Here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes.
I want to remind all three of us that we do have a right to not recognize people that are insistent on not following our rules of order.
Thanks. I appreciate that. All right, that is Whitney's Pond. For the transfer station, we had a meeting on July 2nd, and Bob Blake, our manager at the transfer station, made brought to our attention that the rates for our disposal were far under what we should be charging. So there is going to be a new proposed rate schedule with the current charges and the increased amounts, and I'm not going to read these in, but they will be part of the minutes from the meeting. So it's for pickup beds, trailers, etc. And the minutes from the transfer station meeting will also be made public. So we will be increasing the rates. The meeting was July 2nd. They'll be effective 2 weeks following that, which is July 16th. And there are some changes in what size trailers will be able to offload material into the transfer station as well. Part of that was also because of safety for the transfer station employees, but also Department of Labor regulations. So there are some good minutes that can be read and understanding why these safety hazards were brought to our attention. And we didn't really have a choice on whether to make some of these changes in the railing that will go around the dump areas. So if you have questions, they can be directed directly to our select board or the Bartlett Select Board if it relates to anyone that lives in Bartlett. So we have information that will be in the minutes. Anything else on that one?
It was a good meeting.
I appreciate all that the select board has done to support the folks at the transfer station that work there. And I would like to recommend that we all be respectful of the people that work at the transfer station. Please slow down. Please, please be careful of everyone that walks around and drives around there. Some days it's just so crowded with people that are speeding up and down, waiting to get in and out. So please be respectful of the employees there as well as the speed that you're driving. The other thing is that it was brought to our attention that our Jackson transfer station stickers fade. So we'll be reordering some new stickers, and we'll probably be making a recommendation that everyone get a new sticker for their vehicle. And we're going to also revisit what our rules are for where those stickers need to be placed in the vehicle and how many each person can get, so we don't have problems with people putting them on a laminated piece of paper and giving them out to all their renters or attendees or whatever. So that will come up in the future, but as soon as we have anything, it'll be on e-news and in our town meeting, in our select board meeting when we get the new stickers.
Yeah, and I think a real in-depth conversation around the sticker process
Yes.
is probably due. The stickers that are fading on windshields are fading because they've been on those windshields for so long. And so there are towns that look for annual renewals of transfer station stickers, and we don't know that that's where we need to go, but we don't know where we don't know it's not where we need to go. And Bartlett's having the same conversation, and we certainly realize that both towns may end up addressing this in some sort of a different way, but keeping each other posted on what we feel works best for our town. And short-term rentals are an issue. We can add language to that annual registration so that they're kept up and current, and that their users understand what they should be doing with their trash. And there are ways that this can be a lot tighter than it has been, because our staff up there works really hard. And they get thrown all kinds of curveballs all day long, and we want to clean this up so that it's not something they have to put up with people coming up and not having any choice on what they're doing, so they just dump and run.
If anybody notices that their sticker is faded, don't wait till we get the new ones to go out. It is hard for them to read that and know what town. And our stickers are a different color than Bartlett's stickers are, so that's how they know which area to direct to. But we'll have more in the follow-up. Peter, did you have a comment, or are you just scratching?
No, I'm cool. I've been a real advocate for safety at the transfer station. And I think it's a simple thing that maybe the boards could consider is, for two reasons, for safety and for identification, is getting the employees in safety vests. They're not in safety vests for the most part. They just walk around in T-shirts. It would help to identify who they are. And I'm amazed the insurance company hasn't required that already. But that's like a $5 to $10 fix per employee. It would help with visibility, et cetera, et cetera. They may not, I don't know if they would be crazy about it.
No, that might be a great idea, but also we recommended a speed bump coming in too, which they're gonna look into as well, so then people can go airborne. Thank you. If anybody else has other comments or ideas about previous or other transfer stations from where they've been in other places, let us know if there's any great ideas there. The last thing here is the Jackson 10K road race permit, and this is something that's held every year. It's a 10K foot race, and it's going to be on August 8th. So I will make a motion to approve this Jackson 10K road race.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What was the date on that again?
August 8th. And that just needs one board signature, so we're all set there. Fire station construction updates. Any?
Well, we met again. We meet every Tuesday. We met this morning. Things are moving along quite a bit. We're expecting to see concrete poured next week. And it's really easy to visualize, what that station's going to look like now on the town campus with all the site work done. We already got grass growing over the leach field that we put in. So things are, the project is on time and under budget.
Very nice. All right, town hall building move update. Stephen, anything you want to report?
I read in your last meeting minutes, I think there's some confusion about the electric meter to the gazebo.
Okay.
We disrupted that service in the process of moving the utilities, and our offer to the town is to supply electricity to the gazebo from the Historical Society. That would eliminate the need for that service, which would save the town about $400 a year, I guess. But that's something for you to contemplate. We can put the individual service back the way it was, if that's your preference, but we should know that sometime soon so we can tie that in.
Can you put a timeline on no back soon? How?
Within a month, if
Oh,
you can let us know.
Is there any reason we
I'm ready to
would
let you know
not
in 10
want to do
minutes.
that? I was gonna say, is there a reason why, I mean, it sort of sounds like
I guess
a,
the only thing I see that you're losing is the ability to have power at the location of where that meter was, which is near the parking area. That's the only disadvantage.
All
But
right.
you could also just put that service back later, at a later date, if you decided you needed it for something else.
okay. Let,
Let's integrate it now, get it done.
They
Yeah.
would need to be able to plug in like lights
yeah,
and sound, you know, sometimes
Right.
there's weddings at that gazebo.
yeah, let me,
Well, no, we would provide
Hold
power
on,
back
guys.
to the gazebo, back to the gazebo, and a receptacle near the Christmas tree as well. So those would
okay,
all be
Still be
coming
there.
from the Historical Society versus you having a separate service and meter for those items only.
any thoughts on not approving it now, or approving it now? Any
I'm
thoughts?
ready. I can make a motion that we approve the change of electrical service to the gazebo and the town Christmas tree.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Pretty tough, huh? All right. Good luck with the move. No short-term rentals. Kevin, anything on the building and driveway permits?
No, that's all.
No,
Pretty
good.
straightforward with some of this question.
All right. Any public comments? Eric?
Hi, how are you? Good. I just wanted to announce that recently decided that I'm going to move full-time to Jackson, New Hampshire, and change my residency here to be a voter and make sure that we can see this Black Mountain project through a successful finish. So I'm very, very excited to continue with the warm welcome you all have provided.
Congratulations.
Thank you
It's a
so much.
wonderful town,
It is.
Jackson. Jackson. Jackson.
Very good. Thank you.
Joyce?
I was remembering that a couple meetings ago, you talked about a town meeting. And I haven't heard anything more about it.
As a public hearing for the,
Public
yes.
hearing, yes.
We're gonna set that sometime in September. we're not gonna set it in September, we're gonna make a time for it in September, probably at one of the upcoming meetings at the end of July, or beginning of August. I wanna make sure some folks are back here for the summer, and it's close enough to when we need to start getting our ordinances in shape for the next town meeting.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thanks for raising that. Huntley?
Hi, not really a complaint. I just, with the increase in traffic on Black Mountain Road and the excessive speeds that people are traveling, I noticed in Kearsarge, they've got a solar speed limit sign with a radar thing on it. And I guess I'd really kind of like to see something like that on Black Mountain Road. People don't realize it's 30 and 35 because they're going 50 plus. And it seems to be more and more with more traffic.
We actually looked into something like that about 7 years ago for Green Hill Road, and just looking into whether that the town wanted to invest in something like that. Chief, do you remember it was like $13,000 or something like that back then?
There are a variety of, devices and costs. We have recently looked into it through the Department of Highway Safety. Now, we've kind of hit the long ball, and I'll give a tip of the cap to Sergeant Mosier, because we've obtained 2 highway safety grants to the tune of $24,000, 23,000, 3. So for 30.
22 and change.
Yeah, 22 and change for our mobile data terminals. I think we can apply for those static display speed signs. Now, that doesn't applying and getting approved. Maybe is different two things. However, what the approach was last time was if the people want it and there's a petition article, then we would do the research on the device and we would advocate for it, because what I wanted to avoid was we're up there pitching for something and everybody's, I spend so much money. So we will prepare the research on the devices that would best fit, and there's mobile ones too that you can use in different locations.
Right.
And they do data recording too, so
Yeah.
not only does the speed limit warn people, but you can get traffic counts, you can get times a day where maybe enforcement would be best suited. So we can put that together. We can explore the grant. And then when we have that information, if the town wants it, what I would recommend is 25 signatures on a petition warrant article, and we'll have the information to pitch at town meeting. I just don't want to be the guy that's always asking for the pennies, and then they might say yes to those pennies, not the other pennies. And sometimes other pennies are important.
Yep, and I also will remember on that, it was based on town roads versus state roads. There were some differences in what it takes to make a change in speed limits, and what are we going to do with the information that we might obtain for something versus like how do we just get people to slow down? So, that's part of it too. Yeah, the speed bumps are bad for the plows. So yeah, we can look into it.
Once you get the data, can you petition to have the speed limit change? Enforcement's always important. I'll sit on Main Street on the weekend and run radar, and everybody goes slow. Surprise.
Okay.
So enforcement knows. But
All right.
we can definitely lay the foundation for that ask.
Okay, thanks. Bob?
It's an interesting comment, Huntley, so thanks for making it. I am wondering if there are any restrictions on us putting something like that up on a state road.
Great, yes.
Well, every road in the town of Jackson has speed limit signs.
Right.
But I see what your point is would they allow us to do that?
Right.
That I can find out easily.
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, information in the future on that would be great to know, whether it's something we recommend or like you said, if it's a petition warrant article, we can move forward. Jay, did you have a comment?
I was going to ask the same question that Paul asked.
Okay. Anything, Joyce?
What comes first, the petition or your information, Chief?
We'll have all the information.
Okay, I'm gonna
Oh,
ask for the, directions again. Why don't you connect with Chief Burley and you guys can find out more rather than having a question and answer in this, and you can figure out which direction you want to go in for that. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
Okay, Chief Burley, thanks.
yes.
Jay, and then Eric, and then I'm not sure of your name. So Jay, you didn't, I'm sorry. Eric?
I just wanted to say, I think that's a great idea. It's very hard to get people to slow down. Black Mountain would happily contribute $5,000 towards that to get people to slow down. A lot of people don't know the speed limit coming from out of town. I think some well-constructed and informative signage would be great, and that'd be fantastic. We'd be happy to contribute.
If you want to continue the conversation as well with them. And I'm sorry, I don't know your name, sir.
I'm Mark Hodgson, I have a house up on Whitney Hill.
Hi, Mark.
I'm here for a different comment, but I want to make one about the dump, or actually two. I understand you're getting new stickers. I have an older version, I guess, and it's supposed to stick on the outside of the windshield. If you get a new one, please stick it on the inside, because I'm not going to put it on the outside because of the wipers. So I don't know where you are, if that's
I appreciate it.
And secondly, I love the dump, great people, all that, but if it says it's open until 4, it should be open until 4. The gate this weekend was closed 10 minutes up. And people, I could see cars coming when I pulled out. He had to open the gate to let me out at 10 of 4. And so I just think, I've never heard of the store closing 10 minutes early. If you advertise till 4, it should be 4.
And
If it's 10 minutes early, then 10 minutes early.
I appreciate that. In the future too, if you want to, instead of waiting to a meeting, just like send an email or call the town office.
Yeah,
And then we can, no, just mentioning it. I
Oh,
appreciate knowing it
Absolutely,
now.
I didn't come here for that. I
Yeah.
came here, and this has been informative.
Okay.
I just want to urge everybody. I think we're getting, things are spiraling out of control with Black Mountain. I think personalities need, I think the temperature needs to come down on both sides. And I'm not going to cast blame on anybody here. But the temperature needs to come down because Black Mountain is a huge asset for this town. And it's the reason I have a home here. It's the reason I came here when I was 6 years old. It's the reason my friends had a home here. I hope everybody can start working together to preserve that asset and stop what looks like to me as an outsider, I have not been involved in this, but this looks like a personality conflict of huge proportions that's getting out of control. And I think it's incumbent on everybody to turn down the temperature and start working together constructively. I would say that to Eric, I would say that to the select board, I'd say that to the chief. I don't care what the past was, maybe it needs to be wiped clean and we can start again. But the temperature needs to come down. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Kevin?
I know there's an upcoming Bartlett Jackson ambulance meeting, and I would like to have that mentioned that it sounds like this year there's no money for training, and there's an advanced EMT class coming up, and it's like $2,500 by the time you add lab stuff, and there's I think 3 or 4 of us that want to take that, and in the past either the state had money or actually Bartlett Jackson paid for the training, and I could, in the future, like to see like between the two towns to put some money in for that, because it's just going to benefit the public, because otherwise, we're paying out of pocket to advance from a basic to an advanced EMT.
Are you going to stay for the meeting?
Yeah, that's coming up, right?
Yeah,
Might.
it is. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Mention it.
Glad that is in pencil it down on the agenda. Chris?
Yes, one more on Black Mountain to follow on Mark's comment and I guess make a request for the selectmen. So back in May, Eric asked us to get all the complaints that have been filed against Black from the police so that we can really address things and improve things at the mountain, or they can address things and improve the mountain. That request was refused. We have now had to file an appeal to the Superior Court of that request for the complaints that have been issued against Black. It's going to now come to the selectmen, so I guess our request to you is help us get the information so that we can improve when it comes to you, and work with me from my office to try to do that and help Black, help Jackson. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Penny?
I just want to say I don't think there's a person in this town or works for the town or a citizen or the select board that does not wholeheartedly support and love and hold very dearly that Black Mountain is such an important part of this community. And I do agree that it's through respect and respectful communication that everybody communicates.
Thank you. I agree. All right. We have some upcoming meetings. One starting as soon as we adjourn this one with the Bartlett Jackson Ambulance Committee. And then we have a meeting on July 22nd, which is our regular select board meeting. And then I have a favor of you folks. Could we change the August 12th meeting to be 3 o'clock instead of 3:30? Works for you? So
I
far?
should be fine with it.
Okay, and then our last meeting is Tuesday, August 26th at 3:30, and there's no non-public, so I'll make a motion to adjourn at 4:40.
So moved. Or second.
All in favor?